What important business is really looking up?
Where does this sky bucket roam the highways?
Why have sales doubled in 10 years?
Where are fashion shows staged in a factory?
Industry on Parade, a brand new look at our America, produced each week by the National Association of Manufacturers.
A group of residents of Peoria, Illinois, report for work. Not at their regular jobs, at the Heister Company, Meyer Furnace, Standard Brands, or the other plants here in town, but out on a cold ground observer corps tower, where they work for you and me, and without pay. Looking for strange aircraft. And when they spot one, they report it by phone to Chicago. Here at the Filter Center in the Museum of Science and Industry, other civilian volunteers put the information to use, plotting the reports of planes sighted so they can be coordinated with radar information and commercial airline schedules. The whole picture of the skies in the area is spread out constantly on a plotting board, where markers show at a glance everything known about any particular plane. There are pitifully few Americans engaged in this work, some during time off granted by their employers, others contributing their own time because of their knowledge of the need, continuing and urgent, for organizations like the Ground Observer Corps. When two observer posts have spotted the same unidentified plane, the information goes to the Air Force, whose jet interceptor crews are on standby duty around the clock. In less than a minute, they'll be in the air and on their way to investigate the strange aircraft whose course and speed continue to be charted from reports sent in by the ground observers. The nation owes a lot to these young men, whose guns are all that stand between us and the possible saturation attack described so harrowingly by the Civil Defense Administration. But it also owes a great deal to the men and women in those lonely, unglamorous lookout towers. And as the Civil Defense Agency pointed out, there'll have to be a great many more of us in those towers and other civil defense jobs if any all-out attack is not to bring sheer devastation. Here's the dramatic takeoff, filmed from one of the jets in the formation. A reassuring sight. But with the facts at hand, it's obvious we've got a part to play in this operation, too.
The reason Americans enjoy the highest standard of living in the world is because we have so successfully utilized power plus machines plus know-how. This combination has enabled us to increase our productivity. Here we are constantly striving to raise the standard of living for all of our citizens. We know that free men with incentives can produce far more than regimented men working for an abstraction called the state. Therefore, we must constantly guard our freedom in order to enjoy that ever-increasing standard of living, which is the sure promise of the American way of life.
An accident along a busy parkway, a wooden light pole shattered. The wrecked car's been towed away, but now who's going to take care of the light? Here's your answer. the men and equipment of a firm called Broadway Maintenance. Now all that remains is to install the lamps and the luminaires that cover them. Using ladders to do the job is a thing of the past. The man in the bucket controls his own movements in all directions by simply pushing buttons. The radio-equipped trucks and crews are dispersed all over a city that uses the company's services, and thus can be at the or a light failure in a matter of minutes. Thus, never a night will go by without a light where there's supposed to be one. The job complete, the bucket is lowered into its cradle. The two other trucks have already proceeded to another job, and this one now will follow if it's needed. Otherwise, it'll go about the business of cleaning and otherwise maintaining normal street and traffic lights. All just one small part of the work of these veterans of the electrical field. Their experience at designing and installing electrical systems for cities, factories, airports, even atomic energy plants, gave them the know-how needed to create these key pieces of equipment for the Defense Department's global communications system. An amplifier and high-voltage rectifier, a two-part unit, though amazingly complicated with 10,000 component parts, was brought from the blueprint stage to full production in just 6 months, and now is providing jam-proof radio communications for the military everywhere on Earth.
Industry on Parade visits a Milwaukee laboratory whose research has transformed a nation's method of painting. It was here at the Easy Painter Corporation that they developed the improved roller-type applicator that's making pros out of millions of amateur painters. Formerly made of lamb's wool, the rollers proved unsatisfactory for the new rubber-based paints. So, to eliminate the matting and slipping that resulted, they substituted a fabric made of the union carbide and carbon synthetic Dynel, which holds its strength and resiliency when wet. Here's how the fabric, called Lawnell, is cut to size. The pad is sewed into the shape of a tube. Then the tube is inverted, pulled inside out like this. After that, it's mounted on a plastic or wire mesh core and the edges get a haircut. Meanwhile, elsewhere in the plant, they fabricate the other parts of the roller, like this steel handle rod. The roller that fits inside the roller cover is put together here. Quickly, the parts are assembled. The roller gets its Lawnell cover and the job is done. With the roller applicator goes a metal pan used as a paint receptacle, and with its slanted surface, a means of loading the roller properly. To use it, dip and roll dry, then lay it on. This cone-shaped model is used for cutting in, making a sharp dividing line between two colors or types of paint. The most commonly used roller, though, is the one we saw being manufactured. Paint sales to professional painters used to be twice those to homeowners. Now it's the other way around. And yet, paint sales are way up and the professionals are busy as ever. The answer is industrial research that has given us products that make it easy and economical to take care of necessary paint jobs that used to go undone. For painting in corners or under overhanging edges, there's the donut-shaped roller. And for this sort of outside work, there's a covered pan. A special long fibered roller reaches into the crevices and pockets of any surface. New paints, new fibers, new applicators, a whole new approach to an old problem.
Last year, 50% more physically handicapped employees were placed in jobs than in the year before. A great number of these employees work in and around our nation's largest industrial areas. Properly fitted to the job to be done, thousands of employers have found that these workers make excellent employees, that there is less absenteeism, and often their performance is equal to or better than able-bodied employees. Employers all over the country recognize that to hire the physically handicapped is good business.
Meet some of the people on the staff of Fashion Frocks of Cincinnati, a large dress manufacturer whose many employees, like a lot of other industrial workers, used to know very little about their company's operations or products beyond their own day-to-day responsibilities. They knew what they contributed to the new line of dresses, a collar design perhaps, or a flounce, or the very work that kept the plant operating effectively. But when it came to the new spring and summer line, that was for salesmen, not secretaries. Now it's another story. And here are the same secretaries, cutters, bookkeepers, and other girls preparing, through an abbreviated course in modeling, not only to learn more about the spring and summer line themselves, but also to show off that line to all the other employees in the plant. It's an annual fashion show right in the factory, and they call it Styles in the Aisles. The company offices are transformed for the afternoon into a salon, in which the people whose joint efforts created the smart new numbers get a chance to view their combined handiwork. Joan Miller takes dictation most days, but today she's putting her own and her company's best foot forward. And Janet Smith in payroll ordinarily makes sure employees get their paychecks. Today she makes sure they get a look at the products whose continued success makes those paychecks possible. Some of the gals, like Emma Herbstreit from Tabulating, valiantly model the half sizes and get the biggest hand of all. Styles in the Aisles. It's a company party with a purpose.